Marvel has produced an outstanding cinematic universe over the past 10 years and is responsible for changing the entire movie and television industry as we know it. The past 10 years have been leading up to the long-awaited movie, Infinity War. They teased the villain Thanos for the first time in the first Avengers film, all the way back in 2012. He's after the Infinity Stones, all of which have been scattered throughout the many films.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
In this video, I'm going to go through each of the 6 Infinity Stones and explain where they started in the film series and where they are leading up to Infinity War.
There were 6 singularities. Then the universe exploded into existence, and the remnants of these systems were forged into concentrated ingots. Infinity Stones.
The first one we were introduced to was the Space Stone. It has the power to teleport its users virtually wherever they want. Throughout the film so far, the stone has been inside the Tesseract. The Tesseract was entrusted to the Asgardians during King Odin's rule. It stayed locked away in a vault until Odin decided to leave it on Earth, in a village named Tonsberg. During World War II, Red Skull, the commander of Hydra, invaded Tonsberg, and he found it hidden in a box inside a sculpted mural. He took the box back to his headquarters, where they performed experiments on the cube. They used it to make weapons and a plane that was designed to drop bombs that had been charged by the Tesseract. As we saw in the first Captain America movie, Steve Rogers thwarted Red Skull's plan by boarding the plane and damaging the machine that was harnessing the Tesseract's power. Red Skull then held the cube in his hands, and it opened a portal that sucked him in. The cube fell to the ground, melted through the floor of the ship, and fell into the ocean. It was later recovered by Howard Stark, who was one of the founders of S.H.I.E.L.D. The cube stayed in the hands of S.H.I.E.L.D. after Stark's death. After the events of the first Thor movie, S.H.I.E.L.D. hired Dr. Eric Selvig to study the Tesseract with the intention of unlocking its powers, just as Red Skull had. They relocated the cube to a S.H.I.E.L.D. fortress in the Mojave Desert, where it was eventually taken by Loki. Loki brainwashed Selvig and had him continue his work at unlocking the power of the Tesseract so that Loki could enslave humankind. Eventually, Selvig and Loki used the cube to open a portal in order for the Chitauri army to come and conquer Earth. This sparked the Battle of New York and caused the Avengers to assemble for the first time. After some time, they closed the portal and defeated the posed threat. After the fight, Thor took the Tesseract back to Asgard and gave it to Heimdall so that he could use it to repair the Bifrost that he destroyed at the end of the first Thor movie. In Avengers Age of Ultron, Thor had a vision of the Tesseract being shattered, revealing its true form, the Space Stone. The Tesseract was placed back into the vault of Asgard, along with a fake copy of the Infinity Gauntlet.
Fake.
At the end of Thor Ragnarok, Loki takes the Tesseract with him, as he and the Asgardians escape their home while it was being destroyed. In the first Infinity War trailer, we see Loki offer the Tesseract to Thanos. We later see Thanos placing a blue stone into the Infinity Gauntlet, and opening a portal just like we saw Loki do in Avengers, which sparked the Battle of New York. In the trailer, we also see that the Space Stone is the second stone that Thanos acquires. The next stone that is revealed is the Mind Stone. Before the events of the Avengers, Thanos unknowingly had the Mind Stone in his possession, which was in the scepter that he gave to Loki. The Mind Stone was encased inside a blue gem that gave the scepter its power. The scepter provided the user with various abilities, but most notably the power to manipulate minds and establish mental communication with others. Loki used the scepter to break into the S.H.I.E.L.D. base where the Tesseract was located. After successfully getting the Tesseract, he used the scepter to brainwash Hawkeye and Dr. Selvig so that they would do his bidding. Eventually, Loki was captured and the scepter was taken into S.H.I.E.L.D. custody, where it was studied by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, aka Iron Man and the Hulk. At one point, the scepter manipulates the minds of the unestablished team of heroes, and its power makes them argue with one another. Eventually, Loki gets the scepter back and uses it to continue his plan of opening the portal for the Chitauri army to come through. Towards the end of the battle, Black Widow uses the scepter to close it. She gives the scepter back to S.H.I.E.L.D., where it is studied by 2 scientists. One of the scientists eventually defects to Hydra and is given the assignment of stealing the scepter from S.H.I.E.L.D. When Hydra gets the scepter, they perform experiments on the Sokovian people. The gem in the scepter gives twins, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver their powers.
You didn't see that coming?
When the Avengers storm the Hydra base and retrieve the scepter, Tony Stark asked Thor if he could research it before he returned it to Asgard. He and Banner used it to complete the Ultron program. They went to go celebrate their victory and left Jarvis to finish the job. This led to the creation of Ultron. Ultron is the first individual who reveals the Mind Stone's true form. He broke the scepter with the intention of using the stone's power to create the perfect body. He forced geneticist Helen Cho to create his new vibranium body, and he placed the Mind Stone in its forehead. The Avengers go on a mission to retrieve the body, and eventually Thor blasts it with lightning, thus creating Vision. The stone stayed in Vision's forehead as he fought as a member of the Avengers.
What, the gem?
It's the Mind Stone. It's one of the 6 Infinity Stones, the greatest power in the universe, unparalleled in its destructive capabilities.
In the first trailer for Infinity War, we see someone standing over a struggling Vision and attempting to remove the stone from his forehead. It is most likely that the stone that resides in Vision's forehead will eventually land in the possession of Thanos. The fate of the hero is still undetermined so far. The third stone we were introduced to was the Reality Stone, but it actually started off as the Ether, a liquid form that has the power to bend the laws of reality and physics, converting matter into dark matter. It was used by Dark Elves. They planned to use it to plunge the 9 realms into eternal darkness. The Asgardians took it from them by force during Bor's time of ruling Asgard. The Dark Elves attempted to take it back a little after the Battle of New York during the first Avengers film. They saw their chance when the portal opened that led them to the Ether. It infested Jane Foster, who had walked through the portal. Thor took her back to Asgard, where Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elves, felt its presence and invaded the city. Loki, Thor, and Jane escaped to the Dark Elves' home planet. There, Malekith took the Ether from Jane and put it inside himself. Thor then confronted him on Earth, where he defeated him. They were able to contain the Ether and take it out of Malekith. Later on, they turned the liquid Ether into the Reality Stone. They then give it to the Collector for safekeeping. In leaked footage for Infinity War, we see Thanos going after the Collector.
Where's the stone?
We can assume that he was after the Reality Stone. The fourth stone we're introduced to is the Power Stone. It represented the destructive power of the universe and is capable of annihilating entire planets. The stone's first known use was by a celestial named Isan the Searcher. He used the stone to destroy many civilizations. He did this until it was placed inside an artifact called the Orb, where it was forgotten for thousands of years. It was later found by the cosmic beings, who attempted to divide the stone's power among themselves. They achieved this by linking themselves together, but after a few moments, the energy of the stone disintegrated all 9 of them. The orb eventually made its way to the planet Morag, where it was hidden under the ocean that would only recede every 300 years, making that the only time that anyone is able to have access to it. Star-Lord, aka Peter Quill, found the orb, and he along with the Guardians of the Galaxy sold it to the Collector before Ronan the Accuser, who was working for Thanos, could find it. When they sold it, the Collector used his technology to open the orb. His assistant saw the stone as an opportunity to escape her master.
I will no longer be your slave!
When she touched it, she disintegrated just like the cosmic beings did. The Guardians tried to escape with the orb, but Ronan and Nebula, one of Thanos' daughters, show up and take it from them. When Ronan got the orb, he ripped the Power Stone out of it and attached it to his Cosmi Rod, making him able to channel the stone's power from his weapon. After attaining that power, he said that he didn't need Thanos anymore. Ronan eventually came face to face with the Guardians. A moment before he was going to unleash the stone's power to destroy Xandar, Drax shot the Cosmi Rod, launching the stone into the air. Ronan and Peter both went for it, and Peter caught it before Ronan could get to it. Touching the stone almost killed Peter, but he was saved when the other Guardians grabbed onto him. They were able to gain control over the stone's power.
Oh! You said it yourself, bitch. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
They then killed Ronan by directing the stone's energy right at him. The stone was then taken to the Nova Corps headquarters to keep it safe. In the Infinity War trailer, when Thanos puts the Space Stone in the Infinity Gauntlet, he already has the Power Stone, meaning that is the first stone that he attains, so we can assume that he somehow took it from the Nova Corps headquarters. The fifth stone that we're introduced to is the Time Stone. The Time Stone was first used to create the Eye of Agamotto, the relic that would allow the owner of the stone to safely use it without touching it. It was kept safe in the home and training ground of the Masters of the Mystic Arts, where Doctor Strange acquires it. He studies it and starts to master it by forwarding and reversing time on certain objects. Later, however, he is warned not to use its power anymore, as he could create alternate timelines that could destroy the natural order. He later uses its power again in Hong Kong to save many lives, including his friend Wong's. Caecilius then stopped him, causing the Dark Dimension to break through. He went into the Dark Dimension and confronted Dormammu. Doctor Strange trapped him in a time loop that would only be released if he agreed to his terms.
This is time. Endless, looped
time.
Dormammu eventually agreed and withdrew his attack on Earth. Strange then put the eye back in its rightful place, in the home and the training grounds to the master of the mystic arts. He did this because he felt that he wasn't ready to handle its immense power, but he wore it again when he met with Thor and Loki in the events of Thor Ragnarok. Leading into Infinity War, the last time we saw it, it was right back in its home to the training grounds to the master of the mystic arts. The final stone is the Soul Stone. As far as the Soul Stone goes, we don't officially know its history or location in the MCU. We thought we were going to see it in the Black Panther movie, but it didn't make a direct appearance. However, there are a few theories that say that it actually did make an appearance in the film. One theory is that it could be tied to the heart-shaped herb used to give the Black Panther his powers. It has the ability to send someone to the astral plane, where they are able to interact with the souls of their ancestors. Another theory is that the stone is connected to the eternal flame that we saw in Thor Ragnarok. This is based on the fact that Hela used it to bring her army of fallen souls back from the dead. Also, it doesn't hurt that the flame is orange, the same color as the stone. Both of these theories have very little to go on, however, so we might just have to wait until the movie actually comes out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. You can follow me on social media, links are in the description, and press that subscribe button for more great content.